This is an educational video for eye surgeons and viewer discretion is recommended. The pupil is about 6.5 millimeters. Then why did I choose a pupil expander? Hypertension and antihypertensives increase risk of IFIS and diabetes causes intra-operative miosis. Viscoelastic is injected under the iris to facilitate tucking of the flanges of the B-OCTA. The 8 mm B-OCTA would firmly engage to the large 6.5 mm pupil, and it would also provide a large pupil expansion for good visualization and safe phacoemulsification. As the first flange is tucked, care is taken to not rub the flange against the capsule. This mature intumescent cataract has a very fragile capsule, so we need to take care while tucking the flanges so that we do not cause a rip. The uniplanar design of the B-OCTA requires that we use gentle supination-pronation movements at the forearm to safely tuck the flange under the iris. Once a notch on one side of the flange has been tucked, the flange may be released and again regrasped closer to the second notch to facilitate tucking. Since the starting pupil was relatively large, there is no difficulty in grasping the fourth flange and tucking it under the pupil margin. Much to our relief, now we have a large, expanded octagonal pupil. Here, the anterior capsule is being massaged with a viscoelastic cannula to break the locules of fluid cortex so that we have a continuous pool and it does not cause any problems during the anterior capsulorhexis. The main incision and the side ports are used to access all of the anterior capsule. And this is the moment of truth in this hard intumescent cataract. The first puncture is uneventful, a little bit of fluid cortex escapes. Viscoelastic is injected to tamponade the anterior capsule and clear the liquid cortex. This is repeated as the capsulorhexis is extended and liquid cortex keeps escaping. There appears to be a fluid locule trapped over here, and the capsulorhexis is extended very gently across the locule, and lo and behold, liquid cortex gushes out like a plume or like lava from a volcano. Had the anterior capsule not been massaged, this capsulorhexis would have run off in a blink of an eye. The rest of the capsulorhexis is uneventful and we have a nice round capsulorhexis. A partial thickness trench is made to facilitate chopping. The first chop does split the nucleus, but the posterior leathery plate does not allow it to extend the full length. This is a test of patience and it will require many attempts at chopping. The nucleus is rotated and the phaco tip is buried at the deeper plane of the heminucleus and then chopping is continued. This ensures that the heminuclei are separated from each other without significant tilting and stress on the zonules. With such a hard cataract, it is necessary to rotate and progressively chop the nucleus to conquer the leathery posterior plate. And now we are absolutely sure that the two heminuclei are separated from each other. It is time to chop the heminuclei into smaller quadrants for phacoemulsification. And the leathery plate continues to pose problems, but it's relatively easier now to overcome this. Once the nucleus has been divided into quadrants, the quadrants can be delivered out of the capsular bag without stressing the capsulorhexis. As we can see, this is a pretty hard cataract, and the B-OCTA has been providing a large pupil expansion for safe phacoemulsification throughout. And now we are left with the last quadrant. It is always a good idea to inject some viscoelastic into the anterior chamber before we emulsify the last quadrant. This not only protects against surge, it allows the surgeon to pause and take a breath. As the cortex is aspirated, a posterior capsule plaque is noted, but since it's away from the center, it is not going to cause problems. And the IOL implantation is absolutely uneventful. Viscoelastic is removed from behind the IOL. I personally prefer to always remove the B-OCTA or the B-hex under viscoelastic. The flange away from the main incision is first untucked, and then the notches on either side are released, and then the other flanges are untucked, and the entire ring is brought and placed freely in the anterior chamber. A flange is held and the ring is simply drawn out. The pupil may appear a little octagonal, but it returns to its round shape by the end of the surgery or within a few days after the surgery.